Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to this session focusing on ethical literacy in AI that is provided under the framework of this program. Learn how to use the potential of generative AI to innovate university teaching and student-centered learning environments. So this presentation has been prepared with my colleague Fernando Remião, and we are grounding this presentation in two main aspects. On one hand, we are using the work UNESCO is doing in setting a framework for teachers' competencies to deal with the challenges of AI in education. And we are using also some research we have been doing in a case study in pharmaceutical sciences when we are assessing, evaluating the effectiveness of AI in a specific course, in a specific program, so that we can also bring these insights according or taking into consideration the topic that we are addressing, that, as I've mentioned, is focusing on ethical and communication AI literacy. As one of the dimensions that we are addressing in this specific program. As I've mentioned before, we are going to address or take as important milestones regarding the work of UNESCO, and there are two references that it's important to take into account. One of them is this report, UNESCO's recommendations on the ethics of artificial intelligence, and another one that I will speak later, also delivered by UNESCO. Well, in this report, what we have grounding recommendations is an underlying emphasis on ethical values and principles that should guide our work and the introduction of artificial intelligence under the framework of education framed by these values and principles, as I've mentioned to you. So, in a period that, or in a life, in times of crisis and these very fast developments regarding technological and digital environments, it is important to remember about what are the ethical values at stake in all contexts, but more precisely in these contexts. And we are speaking about the need to respect, to protect, and to promote human rights and the fundamental freedoms and human dignity. So, what UNESCO is trying to highlight is the importance to address these ethical values when introducing AI in education. Along the values, the ethical values, there are also ethical principles. And these ethical principles are listed here, and we are going to work with these principles in some proposed activities that I will show you along the presentation, so that we can have a critical perspective about how to make sure that these principles are respected and are part of the design of our pedagogical approach regarding the introduction or the embeddedness of artificial intelligence in education. But this report, along these values and principles, it also addresses some key recommendations that I am not going to go in detail here in this presentation, but you have all the material, all the selected material here, so that you can revise it in a more at your time, at your own pace. But the reason why I put forward here the recommendations UNESCO is addressing to member states. It's at the national level, and we as academics are working at the institutional level, and these orientations and recommendations could also affect us. But more than that, if we are aware about what at the national level developments should take place, probably we can also raise this awareness when we are trying to deal with the introduction of AI in our own work and in our classes. So it's very important, the issue of the specificities of acquiring AI literacy education, because there are specificities in this field, in the field of education. It is very important, the general awareness about programs, about training that is focusing on the developments related to AI, but also all the technologies and the impact of artificial intelligence on systems and or the impact of artificial intelligence systems on human rights and their implications. So this is very crucial at the national level, but also at the level of the classroom and also within our organizations. It's important to take into account these recommendations not only at the national but also at other levels of operation. Additionally, it is very important that we keep, so to say, a balance on national and education programs, respecting not only the traditions but also what the academic fields define as what should be taught and in what way, and at the same time incorporate in the curriculum these ethical concerns that the use of AI is putting forward and challenging our role as teachers, as academics in our work. As I have said before, there is this document, this report on the ethics of artificial intelligence, focusing on these recommendations.